Well, good morning, everyone. Thomas Montgomery. It is a beautiful Wednesday morning, August 17th, 2022, 8 o'clock Central. And we get together with our distribution partners most weekdays at this time to talk strategies, tips, techniques, and share success stories. Sorry, we had email server issues, and frankly, those are not resolved yet. IT team's working on those. But we do have a new email server connectivity. And although it's not the topic today, we're using support at businessparalegalcorp.com. That is up and going and live. And so that is how we'll be communicating with you all and how we'd ask you to communicate with us until the rest of those issues are resolved. So sorry for yesterday, a little bumpy, but exciting. We had a record day yesterday of number of clients enrolling in the SBA Express program, despite the email server issues. So incredible day. It's our first time of breaking 100 in a day. And then secondly, we had a chance to discuss with each of you yesterday morning, get your feedback on the startup business package. And so that is continuing to take shape. We had a number of you rather ambitious starting to enroll clients, even though we hadn't officially rolled it out. But as of today, we are ready to roll it out. I think we ended up with 23, we'll call it pre-enrollments yesterday. And I think that number is right, which is awesome. It goes to show the demand for it. So let's recap what we discussed yesterday and then make sure that everyone's on board of where this fits in. So periodically what you're going to find is that you run into small businesses that really haven't formed themselves yet. They lack that underlying foundation to even proceed to go get funding. They often don't exist yet, the business, not the person, of course. And so with input of many of you, we've put together this turnkey resource, helping them form a new business to get positioned for fast funding. So this is targeting individuals who are looking to form a new business. So this is the front end of the process if they've not formed their business already. If they've already formed their business, then this is not a good fit. Now, they could be an entrepreneur that has other formed businesses, but we're setting up a new one, excuse me. But this is a specific program to set up a new business, which you'll see as we go through. So it's getting the entity created and making sure that it's well positioned for funding. So this in itself is not a funding program, it's that foundational piece. Now we're going to help them build business credit, and I guess that includes access to credit, access to funding. But in general, this is the foundational piece to get the business created, which will make more sense as we go through. I told you it was developed with the input of many of you, including SBDC, SBA advisors, SCORE mentors. The cost. So this is not free. It's a $2,500 program. The grant covers half. And so then the participant pays the other half, and we pay you $250 of that $1,250. So it's, you refer in, get paid. You don't have any implementation responsibilities. We kind of jokingly say that we pay them to participate, because while the grant is $2,500 and the deposit's $2,500 and the grant only covers half, thus they're paying $1,250. But the bottom line is we're going to help them get the business entity created and get more than that in business credit without any PGs during that time. But just to be clear, they're going to pay $1,250. The grant's going to offset the other $1,250 of the $2,500. So with that, the Startup Business Package provides an affordable and effective solution for early stage businesses to meet important credibility factors to access capital, including having a legitimate commercial business address and a strong business credit profile. These are two issues that we're consistently seeing with clients that come to us. They often are not set up properly. They're working out of a residential address, a post office box, a virtual address. None of those are considered credible. And then in many cases, they've done nothing to build out their business credit profile. So there's more that we do than just those two items, but those are the two key selling points. Once the client enrolls, we're going to get them their unique address. They'll be assigned that typically same day. Then we can get their business formed with the Secretary of State. And as we talked about yesterday, we pay those filing fees. It's not passed on to the client. And then we're going to be able to work with them in getting at least $5,000 or more of business credit. And that's, of course, under their EIN with no PG, no personal guarantee, within that first 30 days. So when we talk about paying them to participate, just means quantifiably they're going to get more financial benefit than they have outlay. Why would small businesses want to, well, why would startup businesses want to enroll in the startup package? To become a legitimate business, increase access to capital, and then the credit building. If they went to other places like Credit Suite, SUITE, which is a great company out of Florida, they could be paying $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 for essentially the same thing we're doing in building their credit at no cost as part of the startup package. As far as what's included, they're going to get a unique business address. And this is so important. We've talked about this. This is not a shared address. It's a unique, distinct address. And of course, we'll provide mail forwarding to them at no additional cost. We're going to file with the Secretary of State for them and incur those costs. We'll get their EIN for them. Of course, there's no cost for that. We're going to help them build out their business credit profile. And there's other steps with that, right? First, we need to get the profile set up correctly with Dun & Bradstreet, and then we start adding trade lines. We'll assign a business paralegal for support so they're not left in the dark. And then one of the key benefits is they'll have geographic access to the Chapman Fund. And so the Chapman Fund goes, if I recall correctly, from a low of 30,000 up to 250,000. Can be used for fixed assets, new construction, renovations, leased property, equipment, inventory, and working capital. They often will do kind of a combo funding model where the Chapman Fund is used in conjunction with larger funding amounts, including SBA loans. And they have a unique way to even sometimes position this as an equity injection so clients can qualify for some of the larger loans. And then again, this is not bank financing. This is from a taxing authority. And so, sorry, the Chapman Fund is from a taxing authority. So you have to be domiciled within their taxing district, which of course this is. And so that way, unless we're going to move on and go for additional funding beyond the initial 250, we won't need to apply for bank financing. So the way that we're running it is if a client is interested in the startup package, then essentially they're going to email us support@businessparalegalcorp.com. So with the email server issue that we had, this is the new email server that we're using while they're cleaning up whatever mess happened. It's above my head to understand the issues there, but the bottom line is we're back up and going with support@businessparalegalcorp.com. Scott Strouder, Chief Marketing Officer, my understanding, has sent an announcement out to everyone in the database this morning, alerting them of this new email. Because if you send to some of the prior emails, the server's not up. It's a freaking mystery. It's like the email doesn't exist. What a pain. Okay, so who has questions on the relevance or financial benefit of the startup business package? So this isn't meant to confuse or distract, but if you run into clients that are in their early stages, in other words, they've not formed yet, or frankly, you might have a client that's already got a formed business, but it's just not set up properly. And so there's like weighing two different options. Either go clean up the mess that exists or hit the reset button and use this for their capital raise. And frequently we're seeing that. We have clients that have just mucked up records, or clients that have been around a couple years and they haven't generated any profit. And so now they're wanting to go get a capital raise. And then we have to be able to explain to the lender, well, yeah, the business is 2 years old, hasn't generated any revenue in 2 years, but don't worry, we've got it all figured out now. You can imagine, and that's the same with shelf corporations, really difficult to discuss with a lender why all of a sudden we've got it figured out that now we're going to make money when we haven't been able to make any money in the past. So the startup business package is not meant for everyone. It's for those early stage entrepreneurs that are looking to form a new business. If they're beyond this, that's fine. Then you don't need to spend time on this. Then you most likely will want to talk to them about the SBA Express program, which is an outstanding funding source for those that are already set up, established. So who has questions, comments, concerns on how the startup business package has evolved? Yesterday, we discussed it kind of as a roundtable group, got input from many of you that was incorporated in. And so now we're to implementation as of today. We have the 21 or 23, whatever it was, that were pre-enrolled yesterday, but we're open for business. So feedback, Alfred, Bernard, Charles, Dewad, Jeanette, Joseph, Josiah, Pauline, Chandel, Victor, others, who has questions, comments, just go ahead and type it into the Q&A. Let us know what your thoughts are. And if we need to make any further tweaks, we certainly can do that. You are our sounding board, you're our advisory board. What is it that you like about this? We had quite a few correspondents yesterday, and the one that we saw, the most common theme is in terms of if it's a $2,500 program and the grant is covering half, then what about the other half? Well, the other half needs to be paid, right? And they would pay, if you want to collect that from them, you can. You collect the $1,250, send us $1,000 because you're keeping $250 off of it. If you don't want to be in that role, you can just refer them in to us, and then we'll collect the $1,250 and send you the $250. So you could just simply email us the client's name and email and phone number as we're getting the whole system set up. The system's not set up in an automated way yet. It will be. So in the short term, just work off of email. So you could email us in, you could email in Charles Ryan, his email, his phone number. Obviously we saw that came from you, Alfred. And so then we know that you're going to be paid $250. We'll get the Adobe agreement over to the client. And then once they sign up, we'll send them an invoice. With the invoice will show the $2,500. We'll copy you on the invoice, show the $2,500 less the $1,250. They'll pay the $1,250, and then we'll pay you your $250 and implement. So again, it's up to you. If you've got a relationship with them, you want to collect the $1,250, you keep your $250, send $1,000. If you want us to do the billing, we'll do the billing. Doesn't really matter to us. Whatever works for you. Chandel asked about what state they're in. Yeah, so we work with clients all across the country, so it doesn't matter what state they're in. That's correct. Okay, so Josiah's asking, is this for pre-EIN, a business that's looking to level up from mom and pop? Yeah, so it really doesn't matter if they've been operating as a DBA or a sole proprietorship, or if they've not operated at all. But if they're ready to get the business set up, and let's again define what setup means. Setup means we need a unique business address. Then and that's step one, right? We talked about this in detail yesterday. That's step one. A lot of people skip that, but we need a good address first, so we look credible. Then we go to the Secretary of State, which we cover. So we're providing the address for free. We're going to go file with the Secretary of State for them for free. We're absorbing those costs. We're going to help them get their EIN, which is step 3. That's free, but of course the IRS doesn't charge for that. And then we're able to then work with them to build out their business credit. And these are the things that are the underlying fundamental foundation of being credible enough to get business funding that, frankly, a lot of these small businesses don't have. So, and then of course the Chapman Fund is the extra perk, icing on the cake. But it's a really good price point. I don't think you'll get any pushback on that. They do need to come up with the $1,250, unless you're willing to waive your portion, which I wouldn't recommend. I mean, if they say, oh, I only got $1,000 and you're willing to accept that, you can collect that from them and send the $1,000 into us, but that's just cut you out of your $250. I wouldn't recommend that. But probably most of you will not want to be in the billing and collection game, so you'll just be emailing the referral in for now until the system's all set up, the online system. So just email the referral in. We'll know it came from you. We'll send them the Adobe agreement, copy you. They'll sign that. You'll know when they've signed that. We'll invoice them through QuickBooks. We'll copy you on that. So you know the QuickBooks invoice has gone out. They'll pay the invoice via QuickBooks, and then we can distribute. Our goal is to pay you next day. We don't want to wait monthly or weekly. We want you to have immediate gratification. The way to get paid the quickest, of course, is you collect the $1,250. You keep your $250 off the top, but that is up to you. So in terms of marketing and promotion, there's a number of different ways that this can be taken out, because now we're talking about a different population of target audience. We're talking about those that are pre-formation. Granted, these could be entrepreneurs that already have an existing business, but quite simply could be those that have never started a business because they didn't know how, they didn't have the resources, they didn't have the capital to do so. And so this opens you up to being able to work with a much broader audience. Now, theoretically, you could do, I think Joseph does this, I think he tracks DBAs, and DBAs are filed with local counties. And so there are certain ways that you can get into the flow of who's filed a DBA. Theoretically, you know, anyone that just started a DBA obviously has interest in owning a business. They have formed the simplest form of business that really doesn't provide much access to capital. So that would be kind of a good target audience, right? Because they're probably inclined to get set up properly if you could show them the benefits. So that would be an example. But others of you are just simply going out to community centers, churches, apartment complexes. And some of you are doing a bit of like a 30-minute presentation off of this, just talking about it. It's really up to you. I mean, that's your gift, that's your talent, that's your role in terms of how to go out and connect with the community. We've got the programming and the ability to monetize it, but it comes down to how you want to go generate the clients. So certainly referrals are great. Developing referrals. We've got Terrence on here, is one of our white label partners, also a CPA, and certainly going to CPAs are great, tax preparers, others that are connected with small business owners. But marketing could be a whole separate discussion, but I just want to make sure that we're all clear on why we're offering this. The reason why is because we had been frequently seeing small businesses that were not set up properly. They either didn't have a unique business address, or they hadn't yet filed with the state. They didn't really know how to, or they hadn't done anything to make their business credit worthy. So all that's left is their personal credit. And that's what you and I want to do is help them separate whenever possible their personal from business credit and be able to access what we call trade lines under the EIN without a personal guarantee. And that's exactly what this does. All right, so Samuel's asking if he can mark this up more than the 250. And sure. I mean, so you know that if you want to go out and mark this up and maybe you package other services, like I mentioned, Terrence is a CPA, so he might package QuickBooks or other services. But yeah, if you want to build this into some larger package that fits, some of you are insurance agents. A couple of you are, from what you said yesterday, planning to give this away to clients if they're willing to buy a key person policy from you. So again, that's up to you. That's between you and them. But essentially, if you want to package this in with something else that you're doing, hey, fine with us. Essentially, in those cases, you would probably collect the $1,250 or at least 1,000 of the $1,250. It's $250 of it's yours, forward that in. We'll do our part, and then you can go set up their key person policy and make $3,000 to $5,000, or you can go set up their books and their QuickBooks if that's what you want to do. Some of you are website developers, and so you're putting together $3,000 to $5,000 website packages. So that's a great point, Samuel, that you could build this in. but also those are examples of referral sources that could be really valuable to you. Okay, so who has questions, comments, concerns on the startup business package? This is not a change to what we currently do, but it's a new offering. It's a new item on the menu because we saw the need, right? We didn't offer an appetizer before at our restaurant. So now we have an appetizer that's available. You know, these are the stuffed mushrooms, right? And so if you want an appetizer before you get ready for the entree, the main course of the SBA Express or the Access to Capital, this gets the business prepared for that capital raise. All right, so the question is, and this was asked yesterday too, is this the same as the SBA Express? No, 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 no. So the SBA Express, and maybe I should have done side by side, the SBA Express is once the business has been formed, now let's put the loan package together for up to $150,000 SBA 7A Express loan. And we need at least a 165 FICO, starts qualify and so forth. So would these participants be a great fit to move on into the SBA Express program? Absolutely. But is this the same? No, it doesn't compete with it. This is a prior step for those businesses that have not established their business yet or established it properly. Hopefully that makes sense. All right, who else has questions on the startup business package? So as of this moment in time, we're open for business. Again, we had the handful of pre-enrollments yesterday. If you have someone that is interested, and we'll get this flyer out to you here soon. But the bottom line is you just email in to us, support@businessparalegals.com. This is the new email address we're using until those servers get resolved with the other accounts. What you'll do is just email in the client's name, email, and phone number, and then obviously let us know. If you've already collected the money from them, then we'll invoice you for our portion, which is $1,000. If you've not invoiced them yet, then that's fine. We'll send them the agreement. We'll get them under contract, and then we'll invoice them for the $1,250. After we receive the $1,250 from them, then you'll get your $250 next day via wire, ACH transfer. Any questions, comments, concerns on the startup business package? All right. Well, thanks, everyone. We'll see you back tomorrow morning. Have a good day. Oh, we got a question here. So we got a question. So Josiah says that his LLC is prohibited from leveraging a personal guarantee for funding. So this would not conflict with that. And this technically isn't a funding program, Josiah, but we are accessing business credit, and business credit is going to be accessed without any use of personal credit or personal guarantee. So you would be just fine. All right. Thanks, everyone. Talk to you tomorrow. Bye-bye.